Hi, I'm Jake Leachko. I'm a candidate for the Board of Education of Stanislaus County. As I go around the neighborhoods and knock on doors, and I introduce myself and I say, hello, I'm Jake. And oh, you are the Jake. We see your signs all over the place. Well, I said, now you see the man behind the sign, behind the name. And so it's a very pleasant, very nice, very encouraging experience to be walking around talking to people. Now, one of my other favorite things to do is to walk up to some of the very few homes that have the sign on their yard of my opponent, Mary Ann Sanders. Now, why are you walking up my door when you already know I'm a supporter of Sanders? I want to make friends with the friends of Sanders because I'm pretty sure Sanders is a good person. And I'd like to think that her friends are good people too. So I'd like to make friends with good people. So I hope you welcome my gesture of friendship. I asked them point blank, well, would you mind telling me why you support Mary Ann Sanders? 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. They admit to me, oh, it's because Mary Ann Sanders has been a long-time friend of mine. We go back many years. And so they openly admit to me that it's because of friendship with Sanders. And so I put to them the next question, that is, so are you going to vote for the sake of friendship or for the sake of the future? And that puts them in a quandary. Would you mind my bringing up to you reasons why I am contesting Mary Ann Sanders? And so I begin by telling them a few, statistics, numbers. And numbers don't lie, right? So I tell them, well, do you know that Sanders has been in this position of hers for 20 years? And they say, wow, that's a long time. Yeah, it's a long time. And I tell them, look, I don't mind longevity in a position like that if the person is doing good and has been doing good. But I think there's where the problem lies. By the way, on that note, I don't understand why Mary Ann Sanders in her website could not admit the fact that she has been in this board for 20 years. All that she puts in her website is she's been a board member for several years. Why not be more exact and say, hey, 20 years? For me, as far as, telling the truth is concerned, right? Why can't she just openly say it's been 20 years? And so let's examine the results of 20 years. And I have here statistics that tell us exactly how the 20 years have been. Let's begin with this report from the state about the district performance by county for 2023. They come up with this kind of a report. And here is Stanislaus County right there. And you can see that it's all in the red. All in the red for all parameters related to English learner progress, chronic absenteeism, suspension rate, graduation rate, English language rate, mathematics, all on the red. And this has been the consistent trend for Stanislaus County Office of Education for many years, for the duration of the time that Sanders has been, in fact, president of this board, not only a member, but president of this board. And here's even perhaps a more telling statistic. Okay, here, look at this. Out of 1,554 school districts in the entire state of California, Stanislaus County ranks at 1548. That's there. Oh, there. Stanislaus County Office of Education. 6 spaces to the bottom of the pile. Now tell me, if Mary Ann Sanders and the rest of this board has been doing good, has had the benefit of our students at heart, why are we at the bottom of the pile? Why are all the matrices in the red? All the measurements, academics and otherwise, are all in the red. Now, some people are quick to argue and say, well, there are many factors that lead to that. Some of them, in fact, point to the demographics. Well, you know what? To me, that's an excuse. Because that's what people who lack creativity often would say. they would excuse their ineffectiveness and their inability to change things around, and their lack of creativity, for everything else besides their own ineffectiveness. Right? They blame it on everything else. It's somebody else's problem. It's somebody else who's causing it. The problem is being caused by other things, not by us. That's always the way people who have nothing to show for their long stay in government positions to say. So, and then let's look at, San Jose County, for some reason, because of its very poor performance in all of the measures that we just saw earlier, they make headlines in U.S. News and World Report. Right? Test scores at San Jose County Office of Education stands at 9% of elementary students tested at or above the proficiency level for reading. 9%. 6% for math. And then also 11% of middle school students tested at or above the proficiency level for reading, and 7% tested at or above the level for math. Really? Less than 10% across the board are testing at the level or according to, the proficiency levels for math and reading that are proficiency levels acceptable. This is only at 10%. And by the way, they have no data to show for high school, because maybe it's even less than that. So what's going on? What is really going on in the Office of Education? You see, we're not the poorest county. We have plenty of good teachers. But I think our teachers' hands are tied. They cannot really teach according to, the calling that they have received to teach the basic, even the most basic of subjects that they are employed to teach. So we cannot always keep blaming lack of funds, lack of resources, demographics, etc., etc. Why do we have these results? To me, there's only really one reason, and that is people who have sat in the board have allowed this situation to happen, to linger, to foster, without addressing them head on. And so I asked the Friends of Sanders, when I go visit their homes, I ask them, is this really what you want to vote for? Is this really what you want to continue to perpetuate in the system just because you are friends with Mary Ann Sanders? Or should you rather perhaps be more concerned about the future of children, the future of our county, the future of America? Because if we don't change these things now, where will we be tomorrow? Where will our beloved country be tomorrow if we don't take care of these very pressing needs of education now? And Mary Ann Sanders, in her slogan, she says, she wants to put children first. That's what you see in her signs, right? Well, I wonder what has happened in 20 years. Didn't she put children first for the last 20 years? Is it only now that she's going to put children first? Because it doesn't seem like she has put children first with all of these very bad results that we just read and we just saw, right? Is this what she means by putting children first, by prioritizing children? If we are not going to vote for friendship, what does the future look like if Jake Kleochko sits in that board? Well, let me tell you, first thing I'm going to do if I sit in that board is to reassess the programs, reassess our priorities, focus on the basics that would really contribute to uplifting the academic proficiencies in math, reading, English, and everything else, instead of allocating resources to other things and other programs that do not have a direct impact on the academic proficiencies of our students. That's the priority. That's what they are in school for. It's not for any other agenda. It is to learn the most basic elements of education. And if we're not giving them that, then we're failing our students. So that's the very first thing I would like to do, if and when I sit in that board. Let's reassess what we're doing, reassess our priorities, reassess where we allocate budgets, and focus on what's good for their academic development. Number two, let's empower the teachers to become the teachers that they really signed up for, instead of loading upon their shoulders so many other tasks and so many other duties that have nothing to do with helping our students become better academically. Aside from all the other regular things that we as board members will be expected to attend to, I have 3 other things that I would like to pursue independent of whatever might be the board's agenda. And you have that in many of my flyers and many of my door pieces that I've been leaving at your doorsteps, on your doors. And you'll see that on my website also. Number 1 of which is that I'd like to make our schools parent inclusive again, because we have seen a pattern of alienation in many more ways than one, where our parents are no longer encouraged to be involved in the education of their children. And mind you, one of the biggest factors for academic proficiency is the involvement of parents. The more the parents are involved in the academic activities of their children, in the schooling of their children, the better their grades get, the better the test scores get, the better their learning process becomes. Second, I would like to pursue a project to create the Ombudsman for Education. We parents do not have an avenue for our complaints, for our concerns to be heard by the authorities, both of our county, our school boards, and of the state. We have very limited and next to none in terms of opportunities to be able to complain about our legitimate complaints. Every other sector in society has an ombudsman. Education has none. That's one of the big projects that I'm going to pursue, and that's going to be independent of my work from board. The third agenda that I would like to do, even when I get elected, is the institutionalizing of the dual training system of education in order to improve our technical education programs. I would like to really see a revamp of our technical education programs and borrow a model that we could borrow from Germany, the dual training system, which has been proven to work in many European countries and even in Asian countries. And we can bring that to America in order to boost our technical education when it comes to training our people in terms of skills and careers. So these are the 3 things on top of whatever agenda we might have in the board. So if you would find it in your heart to vote for the future of America instead of just for the sake of friendships, then I think the choice is clear. To the friends of Sanders and to all of you listening, where do you think should your patriotic spirit be manifested? Would it be in voting for the sake of friendship or voting for the sake of the future? I guess the choice is clear. If you're going to vote for the future, then vote Jake Kleachko for Board of Education trustee in Stanislaus County. Thank you very much for your support.